What's poppin', everyone? So we have finally completed our first 4 weeks of the APA, and we're going to be moving on to draft number 2. So we're going to be, of course, cycling our draft. As I'm sure you all are aware by now, I've explained that the APA is going to be broken into 3 different parts of 4 weeks each, where we're going to be drafting three separate times. We finished our first one, moving on to the second one now, so I'm very excited to show you guys what I picked up here. And just to sort of recap our first 4 weeks, we went undefeated with our team that we picked up, went 4-0. So if you guys have not seen the last match, it was a pretty fun one. We got to use Physical Superior. Hope you all enjoyed that. And yeah, so like I guess sort of recapping our team just a little bit. The first draft, I sort of picked up a squad that kind of gave me some nice reminiscing feels of GBA Season 6, where we picked up Jirachi, Gyarados, and as well as Wobbuffet. That was pretty fun. I picked up a lot of other familiar faces like Kyurem and Magmortar. Magmortar I didn't get to use, but we got to see that in GBA semifinals. Kyurem we got to see a little bit of, which was pretty cool as well. And Mega Diancie, which actually I don't think any of you guys have seen, but yeah, I actually used that in my first draft league before I was uploading draft stuff to YouTube, where I actually won the draft league of NPL, I think minor season 2. So I had Mega Diancie on that squad, and it was really fun to use it in the first 4 weeks of this season of the APA. Now moving on to draft number 2, I decided for this one I was going to pick up a lot of different faces, a lot of new stuff that I haven't tried out yet. Try to get some new Pokemon draft knowledge. You already know, like I'm trying to experiment with some new Pokemon here. And my draft position, well, of course it was re-randomized. It wasn't that great once again. Like I'm pretty sure I got even like lower, or I guess sort of later in the draft than what I was previously for draft number 1. Draft number 1 I didn't really get a good spot. Draft number 2, like I was smack in the middle. Draft number 2 I was probably a little further in, but still kind of in the middle. So it wasn't that great. A lot of great picks went first. But I figured, I was going to try to pick up something that was super versatile. I really love Pokemon that are extremely versatile, and if I want to draft a Pokemon, I have to think of at least looking at the Pokemon, and that's exactly what I did. So for my first pick here, let's just get right into it. I decided to pick up for draft number 2. Our tier 1 Mon is going to be Garchomp. So I picked up Garchomp. A lot of like great things already had gone, and I looked at Garchomp and I was like, okay, I think this is a pretty good Pokemon that's still remaining in the draft at this point in time. I mean, I witnessed so many different things go that I wanted, but Garchomp was there, and I was like, okay, I think Garchomp's going to be a really fun one to pick up because it has Stealth Rocks, first of all. It's a ground dragon, so even though it's times 4 weak to ice, it's fine because like you can run bulk on it, first of all, or a Yache Berry. Second of all, it has a lot of really great resistances. Like it can, it's of course immune to electric. Ground dragon, first of all, I think it's really just such a nice Pokemon. It's such a great typing in terms of it not having too many weaknesses. I mean, it's weak to Dragon, Ice, and Fairy, and I think that's probably like it, right? Dragon, Ice, Fairy, and it has some good resistances to like fire, to rock, for instance. It's a Pokemon that can set up its own rocks, like I said. Has a setup move in Swords Dance. It can run a lot of great sort of coverage moves like Dragon Claw, Outrage, for instance, as its stab move with Earthquake. Poison Jab to destroy. Poison Jab and Iron Head can beat Fairy types pretty well with like Fire Blast and Fire Fang. This thing can run a special attacking set too. I used to use Garchomp actually a lot back in the day, since Black and White, where I first started competitive. I was using like a Sash Draco Meteor set, was really fun as a sort of Stealth Rock lead. I don't know, like I think it's really great. It comes with 2 useful abilities in Sandveil and Rough Skin. Sandveil, of course, being really nice paired with Sandstorm. You could run something like Z Sandstorm, for instance, boost your speed up by 1 and get that evasion boost, or Rough Skin, which is nice with Rocky Helmet. Rocky Helmet Chomp, I love Rocky Helmet, great item. So a lot of different options. Like I said, this Pokemon can be really versatile, I feel. Garchomp is just another really versatile Mon, and I've run Lando T before, so it's kind of similar in the sense that it's a pretty offensive ground type that loves to click rocks and just loves to be sort of be a threat and force stuff out. And I think Garchomp can sort of play the role of just being a threat a lot better than Lando T in terms of it having a speed tier higher than base 100. So it's a base 102 speed, which is amazing, I think, and having HP that's pretty high so that it can get off really quality substitutes. That's another thing. And yeah, other than that, like, Garchomp's a great mon, and I'm very excited to be able to use it for the next 4 weeks. Moving on to our second Pokemon here. So I figured, you know, Garchomp, great tier 1 mon. What I want to pick for my second pick. So I was kind of seeing what went and what kind of got taken in the draft. And I was thinking to myself, okay, like, I want to pick a Mega Pokemon. I always love picking my Mega in either the second or third pick in the overall draft. Just because I want a good Mega. I don't want to be stuck with some budget Mega or something that's like not that great. I want to pick something that's really powerful, maybe potent, and something that can work well with me. So I decided to pick up a tier 2 Mega this time. So before, in the tier 1 Mega that I picked up in the last draft was Mega Diancie. This time I decided to pick up Mega Tyranitar, tier 2 Mega, which is really cool because, like, Mega T-Tar is such a great mon. Overall, it can do a lot of different things. Amazing coverage, immensely powerful, first of all, right? Amazing coverage, and it can play the role of, like, either a setup sweeper or a bulky pursuit trapper or a stealth rocker, or I don't know, just a lot of different roles it can play. So, and it has a pretty decent typing, rock and dark, with the sand stream boosting its Spadef, making it a very great pursuit trapper for special attackers that this thing can eat up pretty well with its boost. And I don't know, I just really like it a lot. It kind of pairs well with Garchomp in the sense that I don't have to click Sandstorm on Garchomp to activate one of its abilities. T-Tar can do that just fine. And Mega T-Tar, of course, it gave me a plus 40 points, right? Because it's the tier 2 Mega, so it gives you points back to use on other stuff. So I figured that it would be a great option for sort of planning the rest of my team, or giving me more points so that I can have more options to choose in the overall draft. So Mega T-Tar, really cool mon. Like I said, it can Dragon Dance, it can set up. It's a really big threat. Its speed tier is not bad, base 71, so it's outrunning, of course, base 70s like Breloom and Bisharp and stuff, as I'm sure you all know from probably using it on the ladder and things like that. But it's a great mon, I think. It has a really great attack stat. Defense-wise, it's really bulky. Even on the Spadef side, base 150 defense, base 120 Spadef, so it's really bulky. It has useful offensive stats. Its attack can be really nice, but even its special attack too, because it can run like Ice Beam, Fire Blast, and stuff to deal with ×4 super effective mons like Ferrothorn, Lando T, things like that. Like I said, it has rocks and it can do a lot of different things. I feel like I can be pretty versatile with it. I thought of like at least 3 or 4 different sets I could run with this Pokemon, so I figured, why not? Why not pick it up for the team? Moving on to a third pick for the draft, I decided to pick up a tier 2 mon, and I decided to try out something new. Of course, like Garchomp and Mega T-Tar, both new mons that I have not currently ever used in draft format, so I think it'll be pretty fun to try it out. I picked up a mon that I really wanted to try out because I feel like, let's say for instance, hypothetically, this may or may not be my last draft league for Gen 7 before we move on to Gen 8, which is pretty exciting. But if it is, then I wanted to use this Pokemon, and I decided to pick up a tier 2 Zeraora. Zeraora for tier 2. And I think it's a pretty good deal overall. As a tier 2 mon, it's just extremely fast. One of the fastest Pokemon in general, I think, because, of course there are faster mons, but from what is allowed and what is good, I think this is amazing for its speed tier. Faster than Mega Lopunny easily. That's great. It's not, I don't think it's as fast as Mega Zam when it's timid, but for a regular mon, I think it's really good. In terms of its speed tier and its sort of offensive coverage options that it has, it's really cool. Zeraora has, base 112 attack and 102 special attack, which is not bad. 143 speed is so nice because in draft format, you can really sort of, like, a lot of teams are not going to be as fast as Zeraora, so you can tailor your EV spread so that you can run just enough speed. Like, it has so much speed, you can just run enough of that, dump the rest into bulk or offenses, and make a set like that. So, like, I think it's really cool. Gives me a lot of versatility in terms of the EV spreads I can run with it. And like I said, it has options for a lot of great coverage, like, Plasma Fist is really cool. This is a Volt Absorb mon, by the way, so it gives me an electric immunity. Nice electric immunity. It has great coverage like Plasma Fist, Close Combat, Fire Punch. It has momentum with Volt Switch. Momentum with Volt Switch is nice. Knockoff is always useful. Taunt, I think it also has as utility. if I'm not mistaken, as well as some other cool options like for setup, such as bulk up combine. That's also there. I think it gets like work up as well. Yeah, but I think Zero Aura is a really fast one, a really cool one at that, and it sort of gives us some fun stuff for the team. And like we're pretty well ahead of a lot of different stuff. I think like we're 4-0 right now, right? So we're doing pretty well. I just wanted to pick up a lot of fun things in this draft and try out a lot of new stuff that would be pretty cool, I feel. And Zero Aura is of course one of them. Next up, I decided, so for pick number 4, right? Moving on to pick number 4. As you can see, like based on the team that I have right now, we have a lot of weaknesses that we need to patch up, of course. These 3 offensive mons are really good, but of course they need some kind of support a little bit. So for pick number 4, you already know, I decided to pick up a familiar face. So we have one familiar face on this team. Out of every pick that we have here, we have one familiar one. We have Best Defogger. It's gonna be Empoleon. You already know Best Defogger is back on the team. So I picked up Empoleon for round 4, and of course it being a tier 3 mon, really good. I love Empoleon a lot. Use it a lot in draft before, as you all have probably known, season 7, season 8 of GBA, and yeah, we're already here with the Empoleon once again. Very excited to bring it back. I mean, I don't really need to go into much detail about this Pokemon. I'm sure you all have seen me use it before, but all you need to know is the Best Defogger, okay? Hands down, Best Defogger, that's it. Stealth Rocker Defogger, it just provides a lot of great resistances and a lot of great options for the team, being a steel and water type, nice steel type. Like we already have a good number of fire resists in Garchomp and Megatitar, so Empoleon does really well. So for my 5th pick, I wanted something that could take ground type attacks pretty well, something that could also be a solid fighting resistance for the team, especially on the physical side. As you can take a look at my squad here, a lot of Pokemon, 3 out of 4 of my mons, being Megatitar, Zero Aura, and Empoleon, don't appreciate taking Earthquakes. Neither really does Garchomp if it's a more offensive set. And even if it's just a defensive set, still it does not appreciate always having to switch into Earthquakes. Wanted something that can resist that, as well as maybe like fighting type attacks like close combat, for instance, as 2 out of 4 of my mons currently are weak to fighting type attacks, and the other 2 don't appreciate taking strong hits from something like a Terrakion, for instance, or just a powerful close combat or something, like, or just an Earthquake, for instance, from a Lando T. I definitely wanted something that can sponge an Earthquake, can take the hit pretty decently. So I decided, since of course I'm gonna be getting a lot of really quality picks in this draft, especially since I picked up Megatitar, which gives me 40 points for my my free points that I can use in terms of picking up other mons. Gave me back some points, that's always nice. I decided to pick up tier 2 Buzzwole. Now, the reason I picked up Buzzwole was firstly because Beast Boost, this thing is flexing for days, of course, and I did use this Pokemon in the multi-battle league, but I'm sure, like, you all know, doubles very different than singles. In singles, Buzzwole is a really cool mon. I've used it before on the ladder a couple times. Really nice Pokemon overall. It's one-dimensional in the sense of it being just a physical attacker. You're not running any kind of mixed move pool or anything in terms of its attack and special attack. You would never use its special attack, but it's like kind of like think about like Diggersby. Like it just hits extremely hard, very limited switch-ins. This thing is extremely powerful. It can run Banded. It's viable with Scarf. It can do like Sub Punch and things like that. It has Roost even, so that's always nice. Beast Boost, which is a very useful ability because it has a base 139 attack and defense, right? Let's talk about what it's good at, right? It's great with power, great at walling physical attacks pretty well, and Beast Boost can boost either your attack or defense depending on which one is higher. You can tailor it to your matchup. Its speed is not bad at all. It has a unique speed tier. It's not that great in the sense that it's lower than base 80s, but it's great in the sense that it's faster than Heatran, which is base 77. So it's sort of like it's like a mid speed tier mon. It's kind of a mid speed tier mon for sure, I would say, because it's faster than base 70s like Breloom and stuff, so that's always useful. Faster than Bisharp, things like that. So it's a cool mon for sure. And even though its Spadef is pretty bad, you can sort of remedy that by maybe slapping on an AV or giving it a berry so that it can resist an attack. or even like just pumping EVs into Spadef, because that can always make it bulkier. Its base HP is 107, so it's naturally bulky, and just a really hard hitter overall, and it's an Ultra Beast, so should be a lot of fun to use. Like the 5 mons that I have right now look kind of scary together, to be honest. They look pretty good, and I do like Buzzwole for sort of the typing that it offers, the versatility that it has in terms of its move pool, in its coverage. You know, it has the stab, bug fighting, elemental punchers, earthquake, poison jab, and so on and so forth. And of course Roost for that longevity has that ability to heal itself up, and it's a bug fighting, so it's a bug type that does not take 25% from rocks, or even 50% for that matter. So that's really useful. And I do like Buzzwole's just for what it can offer for the team. Really powerful wall breaker, and it does pretty well in many matchups, and I think it's a great option for the team. Moving on to pick number 6 right now. For pick number 6, I wanted something that could actually be immune to ground type attacks, and also, like, as you can see from my team here, I don't really have anything that is off the ground, so I wanted something off the ground basically. Something that could give me like another fairy resist, for example, because I have Garchomp, Mega T-Tar, and Buzzwole weak to fairy, so I decided to pick up a Crobat. Crobat is something I've never really used in draft format, but I've seen a lot of people pick up Crobat or talk a lot of good things about Crobat. I wanted to try it out for myself. The experience I have using Crobat is probably in like that one Showdown Live that I did, which was like a nasty plot, nice Chinese nasty plot metronome Crobat, which is pretty fun to use. So that's like the only time I've ever really used a Crobat to a good extent, or to a large extent, was in that the testing of that team and using that Pokemon. So I think it's a cool mon for sure. Like, its speed here, super fast, not 0 aura level, but still really fast, base 130. Its offenses are not the best, but if you put like a choice band on this thing, it can hit pretty hard, or you can run it with nasty plot. Like I ran it before, and it can put in work there. 2 useful abilities in Inner Focus and Infiltrator. So Inner Focus might be useful in terms of course, not being affected by fake out mons like Mega Medicham, Mega Lopunny, and stuff like that, so that could be pretty cool. And Infiltrator, which I think is a really useful ability, because Pokemon that go for sub, it will ignore that and go through their sub, which is amazing for a Pokemon like Crobat, which is like a fast Pokemon too, so that's always nice. And Infiltrator also ignores screens from Aurora Veil, and even just dual screens from Reflect and Light Screen. So it's cool, and it offers a wide variety of utility, such as Defog, really great defogger, but of course Empoleon being best defogger means that Crobat has to be second best defogger in this matchup for sure, or in this draft for sure. And we have other utility moves like Taunt, Super Fang, we have Momentum with U-Turn, so we can form maybe a Volturn core with 0 aura perhaps, so that could be nice. And yeah, like I said, gives me the fairy resistance with the poison typing that it has. So that's pretty cool. Other options, I don't know, like Tailwind, Toxic, and stuff. So could be fun to use. And I think it has a decent move pool as well. Probably not as versatile as some of the other ones that I have, not as hard hitting, but this is sort of a more fast, maybe kind of I don't know, like a utility kind of mon, something that can offer a wide variety of more passive options, but it can still be offensive if I wanted to. And the speed tier just makes it great overall, like I said, and customizing the sets and tailoring it to certain matchups. So those are my first 6 picks in the draft. Already kind of past the halfway mark in this draft number 2. So let's move on to pick number 7. So I wanted another Pokemon that could resist fighting type attacks. And so like Mega T-Tar, right? I wanted something that could really work well with Mega T-Tar. Crobat helps Mega T-Tar in the sense that it sort of punishes a lot of different types of fighting type Pokemon that Mega T-Tar does not appreciate. And I wanted another Pokemon that can do that on the special side. I decided to pick up a Psychic type Pokemon in Reuniclus. So picked up a Reuniclus here. Reuniclus pairs really well with Mega T-Tar because it can really threaten a lot of the different fighting types that Mega T-Tar doesn't appreciate. And it's actually become a very scary mon in the OU tier, because one of the sets that I've popularized is like the Acid Armor Combine set with Magikarp. That thing is extremely difficult to break unless you have a dark type, which I think a lot of teams do have, but we have some really good dark type slayers like Buzzwole, for instance, which will destroy a lot of different dark types in the tier, or in the format. And I don't know, I think it's really cool paired with that. Plus, you know, I think it has a couple good useful abilities. Magic Guard is amazing because that thing allows it to run Life Orb without taking any damage, and as well as Regenerator, which is fantastic paired with like Assault Vest or something, so it can sponge hits, be used as sort of a bulkier kind of pivot, which can take attacks and switch out and regenerate health. And it does a lot of damage. Like this Pokemon here, it has I think a base 125 special attack, so it hits extremely hard. 110 HP as well. It has a decent amount of bulk, really great setup options, nice coverage overall, and I think I really like it a lot. I was kind of contemplating this spot on being you know, either Reuniclus or maybe even Cresselia, but I didn't really like Cresselia too much in this draft or in this sort of build, just because, like, firstly, you know, Mega T-Tar's Sand would make Moonlight heal less, and secondly, it doesn't have Magic Guard, doesn't have the same kind of useful abilities, even though it does have Levitate, which is really nice overall on my team. I think the abilities that Reuniclus has and sort of how much more threatening it can possibly be is what sort of appealed to me more, and I really do like the more offensive option that Reuniclus possesses over other Psychic types, other bulkier Psychic type Pokemon, and I do like it a lot, so I'm excited to use it for sure. And moving on to pick number 8 now. So after I picked up Reuniclus, I was thinking to myself, what do I want next? Since I've already grabbed my tier 1 Mon, I've grabbed a couple of good tier 2s, you know, being Zeraora and Buzzwole, as well as Reuniclus. Got that nice tier 2 Mega, which gave me a couple of extra points here and there. Tier 3, I picked up Empoleon and Crobat. And now I wanted to pick up my tier 4. So I was looking at the pool of tier 4 Pokemon, trying to figure out which one I wanted. I actually wanted Kofak to go with Reuniclus, but it was already taken, unfortunately. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, okay, I want something that was actually good. Something like, I just want a quality pick. I don't care if it has a typing that I already have. I just want a quality pick from tier 4, a quality pick from tier 5. Then I don't have to look back at those tiers, and I can pick some upper tier Pokemon that can work pretty well, that can sort of fit the team the way that I want it to. So I was like, okay, what's available that I think that can be pretty good, that I've maybe used before in Showdown on the ladder, in OU and whatnot. So I found that there was a Pokemon there that kind of caught my eye in terms of me wanting to use in draft. And I decided to pick up a Seismitoad. So Seismitoad here, I think it's going to be really fun to use in draft because, firstly, let's think about it, right? People that want to run, like, this is a times 4 week Mon, right? Times 4 week to grass. People that want to run HP grass can't run HP Ice for Garchomp, right? Similarly, people that want to run Hidden Power Ice on a Pokemon for Garchomp, which is times 4 week to Ice, can't run HP Grass for Seismitoad. So they'll have to have a Grass coverage or an Ice coverage, which is not too common, like among Pokemon, unless they have like Grass Knot or something. But we can easily run Rhino Berry, and Seismitoad I don't think takes too much from Grass Knot, especially with that berry. So it can be really useful. It gives me another Stealth Rocker for the team. And I mean, it's Chinese Seismitoad. Like, you've seen some of my Showdown lives. You've seen the Chinese Seismitoad EV spread. If you know the EV spread, make sure you drop that in the comments so you can we can educate the people that don't know about that EV spread. But I did a couple Showdown lives with a Chinese EV spread Seismitoad. So anybody that remembers that EV spread speed, but a couple useful abilities in Water Absorb, which is just amazing because it's a water type, water ground, a ground type that's immune to water. It can heal itself up from water. And it has Swift Swim as well, so it can run an offensive Rain Dance set, or it could just run a Stealth Rock set. Has some nice utility with like knockoff and stuff. Mixed move pool in like Scald, Earthquake, or Earth Powers there too. Like I said, knockoff. It can run Sludge Wave for like Bulu and stuff. It can do a lot of different things, and I thought of a couple cool sets that it can run. So I figured that'd be nice. You know, a couple times 4 week Mons here and there are pretty good, especially when it forces different hidden powers or it kind of plays a bit of mind games. I think it's always nice in that sense. And yeah, Seismitoad, other than that, like, it's a cool Mon, and it's a Mon that I really enjoy using. It's a ground type I really do enjoy using, and I think that the combination between Garchomp and Seismitoad kind of goes well together. It gives me options. Like, I could bring Garchomp as a Stealth Rocker, or I could bring Seismitoad, and it forces different hidden powers. Like, they don't really share a weakness, to be honest. They don't really share a weakness at all. So it's nice, and it's a cool Mon overall. It gives me another electric resist, or electric immunity, I should say. Yeah, and of course, like, you know, with Empoleon as well. It like sort of overlaps a little bit with the water typing with Empoleon and the ground typing with Garchomp. For Empoleon, it's cool because like Empoleon, of course, is a water type that is taking neutral damage from fire type attacks, while Seismitoad is a water type that is just resistant to fire type attacks. So it just depends on the matchup. Matchup wise, I think it gives us options and sort of makes our opponents think about what we're gonna bring. So our next Pokemon that we're gonna pick up is gonna be our 9th. I think, yeah, we're on pick number 9, 9th pick. I decided to just drop into the tier 5 pick, just get that out of the way so that I can focus on my last 2 picks being from the mid tier, tier 3, and I have enough points for that due to, of course, the additional points we got from picking up tier 2 Mega T-Tar, which I think was a great deal. I decided to pick up a tier 5 Mon here, and I figured that I'd pick up something that may or may not have gotten taken. I think in hindsight or in the long run, I don't think anybody would have taken this pick, but I just really wanted it because I really do think that this Mon has some viability in draft, and it could be really fun to use. Pretty decent stats as well, so let's just pronounce it. But when I was a kid, I used to call it Regice, but it just makes sense to call it Regice, but I don't know, whatever you want to call it. I think it's cool because like at base 100 special attack and defense, base 200 speed def, which is so cool. It can sponge special hits really well. It's pure ice, steel, fire, fighting and stuff, but it's neutral to ground. It can pretty much still take the hit. Clear body's nice because it doesn't reduce any stats that it has. I mean, other than that, like, it has some good options. Nice coverage in Bolt Beam, Ice Beam, Thunderbolt. We're like faster than everything, right? But still has that. And Buzzwole and stuff is something that can like sub behind T-Waves. Same for T-Tar, even it can be like a sub T-Tar. Reuniclus has T-Wave, Regice has T-Wave. And then we have like useful abilities like Sandveil and stuff with Garchomp and Gliscor with T-Tar. So things that can be really useful for the overall big picture of the team. But I think Regice is cool because it's just nice in the sense that it can sort of take hits pretty decently and has a nice offensive move pool as well. Doesn't really have any great healing options other than Rest, Feel. But I picked it up for the sense that I feel like its coverage can do Bolt Beam plus Focus Blast plus a hidden power of some sort. Even like its stat line is pretty good. Base or it has like a total base stat total of. Moving on to pick number 10 right now. So second to last pick, I decided to pick up a fire type Pokemon here, especially since I wanted something that can destroy threatening mice with a extremely useful ability in Corrosion. So Corrosion will allow us to click Toxic versus any single Mon. Like, well, its fast speed allows us to outrun a lot of different things in the meta, and the option to Nasty Plot. So this is a Nasty Plot user. It can be hitting really hard, especially if we pair it with a Z Crystal. Nasty Plot 3 attacks or Nasty Plot 2 attacks plus maybe like Sub or something or Toxic could be really fun. I don't know what else counts here. With Reuniclus having the option of Trick Room, with Porygon also having the option of Trick Room, so we're kind of using a lot of different new different Mons for this draft, and also kind of building a little trick house made to be slow. So Trick Room can work in certain scenarios, but also it's a great solo Trick Roomer as well. It has three useful abilities: Trace, Download, and Analytics. So it can utilize those options. Of course, this thing isn't a Violate user, so I wanted to pick up a Pokemon that could actually sponge hits really well. And if you notice on my team, like my overall draft now, this is my last Mon, but I don't really have a Fairy type Pokemon for the team, and I don't think I really need one. I remember GBA Season 7, I just winged it with like 2 Steel types, and it did really well. I didn't have a Fairy type at all, but yeah, in this draft, I don't have a Fairy type. I don't think I need one because I have Pokemon like Reuniclus and Porygon too, stuff that can sponge dragon hits pretty decently, especially Porygon. Porygon can destroy dragon types, you know, it can like Latias, and Empoleon to steel type, so it can definitely check those too. Buzzwole can definitely check physical dragons pretty decently, and Ice Punch, the ways of just making Pokemon bulky to sponge stuff, or just having the right coverage that I need versus their teams. I think, yeah, so like, yeah, I guess a little bit more about Porygon. It's nice in the sense that it has the traceability, so it can trace stuff like Flash Fire into ways to be either immune to something or just take advantage of other Pokemon. And it can still be very offensive with base 105 special attack and a boosting ability like Tracer, like Downloader Analytic. So very powerful. It's always nice. And that's gonna be the team. So hope you all enjoyed my draft. I have really good quality picks, a lot of fun mons to try out, and versatile ones at that too. I'm very excited this team, or this draft overall. So I'll see you guys on the next video, and peace.